Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. First of all, I hope you've been doing great and I hope your day is going fine. Today, I want to bring to your attention a very important thing that I've come to realize and mostly notice much more often in the past year. And this specific lesson, like the title says, is the fact that God is going to isolate you before He elevates you. Now, before you click off this video because maybe you're a non-believer, this lesson here is going to apply to both believers and non-believers. It doesn't necessarily have to be related to religion. I'm relating it mostly to religion because especially in the past few months and now that monk mode for me has started, I've started to get closer to religion. I've started to really see the benefit in doing so. I've started to understand that for me, honestly, it's a good thing. But that aside, whether you do believe or not, the lesson is going to remain the same, because the lesson that you have to take away from this video here is the fact that before you're able to actually arrive to certain levels, before you're able to really improve yourself up to a certain point, you're gonna have to spend some time on your own. You're gonna have to come to face with a lot of lonely moments. You're gonna have to come to face with a lot of times where you're just on your own really, and you're not particularly in the best situation socially. You're not particularly looking for any kind of girl to go out with. You don't particularly have any kind of girl to go out with. Like, sure, don't get me wrong, you could definitely go out and partake into bad habits and so on, and things that you don't particularly want to do just because you also want to have connections with people, whether it's friends or girls. Don't get me wrong, you could do that. But at the end of the day, if you do end up doing that, wouldn't you be sacrificing your future and everything that you're working hard towards in order just to get a mediocre connection with people that don't even align to your goals? And this is the moving point of this video, because I've come to notice it in my life more and more often, especially in the last year. And now that I've started monk mode, I've really had to come face to face with it, and I've had to come to the realization that the majority of the people that I would like to hang out with, the majority of the people that tend to be around you, the majority of the people that you might even want to go out with, whether it's girls, guys, it doesn't really matter what you like, the majority of them don't really align to your goals. And in a situation where you're sacrificing a lot of time, effort, and so many other things in order to achieve the goals that you want to achieve, having people that, in a sense, hold you back, but not because they're bad people. You don't particularly go and say that someone is a bad person because they know no better, but because they know no better, in a way, you know that you don't really belong in that, perhaps in that group, in that relationship, in that situation. And anytime that you're gonna come to a situation where you have to really improve yourself, before you will be able to see any real results, any really big improvements, mate, you're gonna have to spend quite a bit of time on your own. And it's gonna be challenging. I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, because we want to be around people. Hell, I feel like when I have days off from work and I'm not perhaps seeing as many people around, sure, I am recharging my battery. I do try to speak to people, whether it's at the gym, whether it's at the sauna, whether it's with family, so on. But you still crave that connection with someone. You still crave that perhaps intimate connection with someone, that friendly connection with someone, that chit chat, the jokes, the laughs and everything. And this brings on to another point, which is there's ways and ways of doing it, obviously. There's ways and ways of isolating yourself or putting yourself aside from the world for a little bit. Because don't get me wrong, I am not telling you that you should be going out getting drunk every weekend. If you really want to pursue your goals, you want to become healthier, you want to cut your vices away, you want to stop chasing after really low quality girls and so on, or guys if you're a girl and you're watching this video. But what I am telling you, again, is to, sure, stay away from certain kinds of people, but don't shy away from at least trying to interact with people without having to indulge in the things that other people indulge. Because otherwise, I feel like you will just become lonelier and lonelier, and it will get to a point where this isolation that you're going through, this period of isolation that you're going through in order to become a better person, will probably backfire on you, and it will make you not necessarily a worse person, but it will make you a bit more, perhaps. Loneliness isn't a good thing. I'm sure you can agree on that. Feeling lonely isn't a thing we want to feel, obviously. With that said, really, at the end of it, you've got to trust the process. You've got to come to trust yourself, most importantly, because loneliness is one really big thing that you're gonna have to come to face, and you're gonna have to make friends with it in a sense. You're gonna have to come to appreciate the times when you're isolated from other people and you're not really indulging or sacrificing part of yourself in order just to feel that connection. Because really, like I said before, at that point in time, or at this point in time, or in the future, it's not worth it for you to go and sacrifice a part of yourself, a part of your lifestyle, your values, the things that you really value or stand up for in life, in order just to feel a connection with someone. This can apply to friends, this can apply to dating, and I would say mostly a lot to dating, because it's very easy to go and compromise your values for someone that is good looking enough. But really, when you come to think about it, you're better off being alone rather than being with someone just because they look really good, but they hold you back in your life. You know, this happened to me last 2 years ago actually. It was, time flies. But I was with a person, she was a very good person, don't get me wrong, she was a very good woman. She was very good looking as well. But in the larger picture, in the bigger picture of my life, I was being held back by that. And nothing against the person, doesn't mean that I was doing bad habits, doesn't mean that I was doing anything wrong or she was doing anything wrong. Not everyone is going to fit into the life that you're trying to build for yourself. And that is something that you have to come to realize. Because once you realize that not everyone is fit for your lifestyle and for your future life, it's gonna be much easier for you to accept this feeling of isolating yourself for a little bit, because you're gonna come to realize, you know what, I am way better off just spending time on my own and avoiding a lot of the people that, sure, they're funny, they make me laugh and so on, but I'm not really gaining anything by going out with them. I'm not really gaining insights, I'm not really gaining health, I'm not gaining knowledge, I'm not gaining anything. Maybe you have a few laughs, but you end up completely getting wasted, you end up sacrificing your health, you end up skipping on your workout the day after or the same day. You end up doing habits that you don't want to do, you end up taking things that you don't want to take. Well, kind of you do want to take, but you take them because at that point you're like, fuck it, everything's going to shit anyway. So this is probably the biggest lesson that I've come to learn in the last 2 years, especially after I had to end the relationship that I was in. And it's simply that you have to get comfortable with being alone. You have to get comfortable with being alone and not be afraid of being alone, because that is where you'll make the most amount of progress, and that is where you'll also rebuild yourself the most. Because when you have no one else to worry about, when you have no one else around you that you have to sort of keep this self-image of yourself, you can completely go through a process of transformation, because you don't have to be or act in a certain way for anyone. You can just be yourself, and you can do only the things that you really want to do, and the things that most importantly will really give you the most benefits. So this is also why I'm really big on monk mode as of right now, why I really think that it's something very, very powerful, because it's a time of the year where you get to not necessarily just work really hard, train really hard, cut other things away. It's a time of the year where you're literally rebuilding yourself from the ground up, where, like I said before, you're not necessarily isolating yourself to the point where you become antisocial, because then that brings a lot of other issues with it. You still have a chat with someone, but you're not particularly indulging into the things. If I get offered to go out for a drink or something, I'm like, nah, sorry, I can't. I'll speak to people when I'm out on my own for my own things, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to meet other people as of right now. If I meet someone, say I'm going to the gym and I start having a chat there, okay, good. If I meet someone at work and I start having a chat with them there, good. If I have a chat with a random stranger in the street, a taxi driver, good. But I'm not gonna go out of my way if I get invited to go into other things, and then sacrifice the time that I have to put into the things that really matter for me. If I meet someone, say I'm going to the gym and I start having a chat with them there, good. If I meet someone at work and I start having a chat with them there, okay, good. If I have a chat with a random stranger in the street, a taxi driver, good. But I'm not gonna go out of my way if I get invited to go into other things, and then sacrifice the time that I have to put into the things that really matter for me. which at the moment would be, for example, training, doing my habits, taking care of myself, my diet, and also making the videos and so on. So really, loneliness can be a very powerful thing. It can be a very powerful thing being isolated from people, but it can very easily become a double-edged sword, because you can very easily build yourself and you can very easily recreate yourself, but you can also very easily destroy yourself. And while destruction in that sense would still be recreation into something else, something new, something different, it isn't actually any good because obviously there's two ways to create, there's two ways to recreate something. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope it can help you, and I hope it gives you a good lesson and a good insight into why you shouldn't really be particularly worried about spending time on your own, or perhaps not having people around you that fit your lifestyle as of right now. Because really, most probably, you've just got to rebuild yourself. You've also got to learn how to enjoy time with yourself. You've got to sort of go on mini dates with yourself, make the room look nice, put some incense on, put some good music, put something, and just spend time on your own, appreciating your own company. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna be living the rest of your life with yourself. And for as many other people that you can bring around yourself into your life, no one is going to keep you as much company as you would to yourself. And again, with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you found it helpful and it gives you quite the insight on this, because I think it's a very important lesson to take away. And I will see you tomorrow with another video, and up until then, take care.